Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Just read it in time. Most people in the world follow some kind of religion or identify themselves with some kind of religion because they're born into it. Among Hindus it was practically fixed by caste which deities you could worship. In Gujarat even today the Vaishnava is a caste. This has got nothing to do with self-realization or knowledge of the truth. In Bhagavad-gita, we are reading this verse here today, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that understand with your intelligence, knowledge of the truth, then you decide what to do. That is why we say that Krishna consciousness is not a religion in the ordinarily understood sense of the term. Recently in India there's been killing of Christians by Hindus. It's been widely broadcast in the Western countries. But in the Western countries they don't understand the complexity of Indian society. That people convert, it's not that their understanding of God or the truth changes, but it's often an attempt to increase or to change their social position. In other words, it's got nothing whatsoever to do with the truth or with God whatsoever. So what to speak of overseas, even in India previously, most people, or many people, they would not be allowed to be Vaishnavas. Many people, they were not allowed into the temples of Vishnu. And the teaching and practice of Vishnu Bhakti was restricted to certain groups of people. And this knowledge of Bhagavad-gita would not be taught, would deliberately not be taught outside certain groups. In South Tamil Nadu, where the caste consciousness is probably the strongest of anywhere. A few years ago I was there and one devotee, a member of ISKCON, told me that he was telling people in that area that they were conducting Bhagavad-gita classes. And one lady from a low caste asked that, well, can I come? She was doubtful. And she became very happy upon being told, of course you can come. It's open to everyone. The truth is not the property of any caste. By attempting to make it so, they block the truth not only to other castes, but even to their own caste. By making the members of that caste who are allowed to hear Bhagavad-gita think that it's their caste property, instead of being the truth which is applicable to everyone. So we're very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for having introduced this teaching of Bhagavad-gita as it is all over the world and made this knowledge available to everyone. People are fighting over religion. But from the platform of actual knowledge of God and the soul, all this fighting over religion is meaningless. It's like one group of people stating 2 + 2 = 5 and fighting with a group that states that 2 + 2 = 3. 2 + 2 = 5. My father said so. If you don't believe in it, you go to hell forever. No, your father's the son of a pig. 2 + 2 = 3. They're not interested in understanding what the actual fact is. They're just convinced that, well, I'm right. Why am I right? Because I'm me. So in Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna gives actual knowledge of everything. There is one book, popular science book, published in English called that's a brief history of time. It's the history of everything. I think it's a brief history of everything. That's the title. It's not a brief history of time. It's a different book. And it gives an overview of the history of science and how science is applied in different fields. There's no discussion of why everything exists. It's just presumed that there's no reason. There's no discussion of God or the soul, because such matters are considered unscientific. A microscope and we didn't find any soul, and we looked through a telescope and we even went into space and we didn't find God, so that's proof. There's no soul and there's no God. They consider this to be scientific. We did so much mathematics and we didn't find that at the end of it x squared multiplied by y squared equals God, so that means there's no God. Well, you idiots, that's why God and the soul by nature is non-material, which means not ascertainable by any material means. Krishna is describing the nature of the soul and the God and everything from a different perspectives. The Bhagavad-gita is not a work of mundane science, although that's also included within Bhagavad-gita, but he gives actual knowledge of our existential position. There are more important questions as to why the apple fell from the tree. More important question is, why is there a tree in the first place anyway? And even if an apple a day keeps the doctor away, you still have to die. Why? There's a well-known saying in English, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But like I say, it doesn't keep death away. I just visited this Manipal hospital for getting a blood test. So their motto is inspired by life. Inspired. Prayer it is the Hindi word.
Encouragement by life.
Just a different word.
No, what the translation he gave was equivalent to encouragement, not inspiration.
I see. There's no such word, is there? There must be. Anyway, say encouragement. Together we'll get the general idea. But I was thinking that actually it's inspired by death. Because if people just stayed alive without any problem, then you wouldn't need any hospital. Anyway, Bhagavad-gita gives knowledge of who we are, who is God, what is this world, why is there suffering. In other words, it deals with questions more deep than most people even want to consider. As Srila Prabhupada pointed out, there are so many universities in the world with so many departments of knowledge. Even in Britain, there's a university which has a department of football studies, because football is considered very important. Actually, that's in the city of Liverpool, which is famous for its football team. And the Beatles, for two things. Anyway, never mind. It's a bit of Mleccha culture there. Anyway, one of the managers of Liverpool Football Club was once asked, do you think that football is a matter of life and death? And he replied that it's much more important than that. That football manager's dead now, so he's not playing football anymore. So he was wrong. Death conquered football. So this is an example of the foolishness of people. In India, it's cricket. So most people are more interested in the batting average of some cricket player than in the words of, or understanding what the truth of reality is. At least in India, some people are more interested. So we're just trying to alert people to the fact that we have to die. You say, well, we already know that. Yeah, but why don't you think about it? What's going to happen after that? We'll find out, but we've got later, but right now we've got more important things to do. Someone's driving along, listening to the cricket commentary. Someone says, watch out, there's a truck coming in the other lane. In the same lane. Don't disturb me, it's a crucial, there's a crucial bowl is going on. Yeah, hit a 6. And then, he wasn't watching the truck coming the other way, and he got hit. So this is what we're all doing. We're all getting involved with things which are not important, while the overwhelming fact of impending death we ignore. In America there was a TV commercial. It showed a nice family car. See, all the family gets in the car and they're all driving along very happy. And you think it's an advertisement for a car. You don't take any notice because, there's always advertisements for cars. And they always show people driving along with their car, in their car with a happy family. Then all of a sudden in the commercial a truck comes and smashes the car to pieces. And you think, that's a strange commercial. What's going on? So it's actually a commercial for why you should wear your seatbelt buckled up. They trick you into thinking it's a commercial for a car, but actually it's to make you buckle up your seatbelt. So life's like that, where it's like sitting in the car thinking everything's nice, my father's there, my sister's there, my mother's there, everything's wonderful, but death comes. What happens after that? Yes, what does happen after that? That's been described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So, Krishna says to Arjuna that you consider all that I've told you, how we attain different destinations according to our activities and the consciousness we have cultivated in this life. Okay, what's the verse? Who knows Bhagavad-gita? What's the verse telling us from Bhagavad-gita telling us that we get our next situation according to our consciousness at the time of death? No, that's a specific one. Someone else said it over there. Say it. Young. Sada tad bhava bhavita. It always happens that we get a situation according to our consciousness. It's important, isn't it? If you were to die now, say 24 hours ago, what were you doing 24 hours ago? Let's see. Who can remember what they were doing? At midday on Saturday the 22nd of November 2008. What were you doing? If suddenly you were to die, what destination would you have got? Who's ready to die? Who's in pure consciousness, the pure consciousness by which we won't get born again? Human life is meant for cultivating this consciousness. This we want to inform people. Atato Brahma Jijnasa. Human life is meant for inquiry into the absolute truth. Anyway, there's much more to be said about this, but I'll say more about it on another occasion. Is there any question about this, please? Just try to understand. Use your intelligence to understand these matters. Don't just blindly follow. Andha yatha andha. What is that? Andha yatha andha upaniyamanasti pishatam tramurudam nibadha. The blind are leading the blind and they all fall into a ditch. Yeah, this Periyar was right in some ways. Yeah, he was against religion. Maybe if he was sincere and he had got Bhagavad-gita as it is, he would have understood that although religion in general is nonsense, it's cheating, but there is a scientific understanding of reality which is actual religion. Otherwise, like I was saying, fighting over whether 2 + 2 = 5 or whether it equals 3, it's either way it's nonsense. Of course, Periyar, he made the mistake of considering that because religion got it wrong, or what's promoted in the name of religion is wrong, then there's no God. It's a illogical conclusion. Srila Prabhupada always presented that we are controlled. This is evidence that there is a controller. We are controlled. We cannot stop birth, death, old age and disease. We can't stop the rain. Rain. It's been rain in the last few days. Or if there's not enough rain, we can't force the sky to throw down water. We are in the control of nature. Srila Prabhupada pointed out that nature means it's someone's nature. That one is the supreme controller, the supreme Lord, who can be scientifically known through Bhagavad-gita as it is. So please study this Bhagavad-gita under the guidance of experienced devotees. Bhagavad-gita can be understood not simply by study, one has to act according to it. But if one can simply understand and act according to the words of Bhagavad-gita, one's life will be perfect in all respects. And if one fails to do so, then whatever else one does will be, you may call it successful, but one has simply become a successful fool. Just like the 2 + 2 = 3 party may say that we're successful. Everywhere we crush the 2 + 2 = 5 party. Now everywhere people believe that 2 + 2 = 3. If they don't believe it, we'll shoot them. But what is the value of such a success? It's simply flying the flag of ignorance. So come to the platform of knowledge. This is the purpose of Bhagavad-gita, to bring us to the platform of actual knowledge. Briefly, we can say that Bhagavad-gita... Alright, again, is there any question? Oh, then you are God. Because you are more than Him. You have name, form and qualities, so you are more. Then you are God. You've got more. If you say God has no form, name or qualities, and you have defined God, and you have these things, so then you are more than Him, then you are God. This is a common misconception stated by people who are envious of the Supreme. Certainly, the Supreme is inclusive of everything. If there's anything lacking in the Supreme, then it's not Supreme. The Supreme is the Supreme form of Krishna. But it's not like our smelly bodies. Supreme is Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, blissful, all knowledgeable, spiritual body. Persons who are envious of Krishna deny that He is Supreme. For all their supposed realization, they become worms in stool for their envy of Krishna. So try to understand Bhagavad-gita as it is. Don't find from Bhagavad-gita as it is that the Supreme has no name, form or qualities. Welcome everyone who's just coming in time for prasadam. It's usual all over the world. It's the best thing you can possibly do for them. They don't even know they're envious of Krishna. So we can inform them via Bhagavad-gita as it is. It's just like, to give that caste example, that certain people who are born in one caste, they just naturally think that people in another caste, they're all wrong and bad. There's no reason for it, but they just think it's like that. Or Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims, they don't even, most of them, they have no idea about what the theological issues are. They just think, well, they're bad because they're in the other group. So in the same way, many people think that the Supreme has no form, name or qualities, and they just presume that's right because that's what everyone says. Understand that by saying that, they deny the Supreme His transcendent, or they attempt to deny the Supreme His transcendental name, form and quality. They don't even understand that this is envious. Giving them this information in a systematic way in Bhagavad-gita as it is the best thing we can do for such people. If we only say these people are bad, but we don't attempt to uplift them, then we're in the same position as just condemning others without actually trying to help them. We just become if we don't preach Krishna consciousness, that's actually enviousness. That means we just think I'm right and everyone else is wrong, and we don't care to try to help them come out of that situation. That means we're in the same situation as everyone else. The only difference is that instead of saying 2 + 2 = 5 or 3, we actually know that it's 4, but we don't take the trouble to actually try to inform people that there is a science of arithmetic. People who think that 2 + 2 = 5 or it equals 3, it's just absurd. They need to be informed that there is actually, it's not just a matter of parroting some formulae, but there is actually a science of understanding, which they're not. If they say that means actually they don't understand anything what they're talking about. They have to be informed that there is a science and what the science is, and what the conclusion can be deduced from that science. It's a place of suffering in which we're separated from Krishna. We are not properly situated here. This material world is like a prison house for persons who have acted against Krishna, who don't want to serve Krishna. So saying that we should remain in this world is something like the prisoners saying that why should we bother trying to get free? Why should we be good citizens? We might as well just stay here. The worm is in stool. He doesn't realize it's such a horrible situation. The Atma that activates the body of the worm in stool is also by nature Satchit Anandamaya, eternal, blissful and full of knowledge. But due to ignorance of his situation, if the worm is removed from the stool, he thinks that's a great crime has been committed against him and he crawls back to the stool. If we are satisfied to remain in this material world, that is like the satisfaction of the worm in stool. We are meant for better things.
This situation is required for the intelligence to act. What is the relationship between situation and the intelligence?
Well, that's a pretty vague question. It's going to be different in each case, isn't it? I'll have to make the question more specific in order for me even to begin to answer. Can intelligence be used to control a situation? Well, ultimately we don't control anything, but an intelligent person uses his intelligence to choose how to act in various situations. Every situation gives a variety of choices. If you use your intelligence, you could think of many things you could do now. If you use your imagination, which is also a function of intelligence, one can imagine various things that you could do right now. You don't have to sit there as you're sitting there. You could jump up and start flapping your arms and screaming, for instance. But the intelligent thing to do in this circumstance is to listen carefully to what's being discussed. Now yes, the intelligence is to be applied in every situation. It may appear that by our intelligence we are controlling a situation. It might appear that by his intelligence the driver is controlling the car, which is true to some extent. But it's more intelligent to understand that my control is dependent upon the situation also, which is controlled ultimately by the Supreme Lord. One may feel, I am controlling this car, but you're only able to do so because of so many other factors. If you suddenly sneeze, you're in danger of losing control. What to speak if you get a heart attack, or if the brakes fail, or there's an unseen hole in the road, or a tree falls down all of a sudden on top of you. So, there are so many factors. We're not the ultimate controller. Maya gives us a sense that we are controlling. It's just the feeling that we're controlling. It's not sensible to think so. So it's intelligent.